Hello, welcome to the first video, hopefully, on the FPL News channel. This is going to be a press conference roundup ahead of the deadline, which is in just about an hour's time. Busy day, so here we go. Arsenal, Emile Smith-Rowe is out. Arteta said that 4 out of 4 players, 3 will be fine. Tomiyasu, Tierney and Vieira being the other 3. So those 3 will probably be in the squad, but unlikely to be fit enough to start. And then for Palace, McArthur, Tompkins and Elise are out. And Patrick Vieira said that they had a difficult pre-season where their squads were split between the UK and Singapore and Australia tour. And he said they didn't have the best preparation. So that's Palace. Spurs, the team everyone wants to hear about. Oliver Skip is out. Big news. And Ias Bissouma is a doubt. And then on Perisic, Conte said it's normal after a serious injury to be struggling a bit to come back in the best physical condition. Honestly, I'm surprised because he reduced his time to recover. Probably doesn't mean a whole pile, but obviously Perisic played about 75 minutes in their last friendly. I'm of the opinion that he'll start, but he's definitely an expected minutes risk for your Gameweek 1 squad. So I suppose it depends on your risk appetite and probably how many other players you have that are risky as well. There's a lot of different stuff online today. Some things he'll start, some things he won't start. Really hard to know. He'll probably get some minutes anyway, you'd imagine. So I would definitely put him in your starting 11 if he's in your squad. And then at right wing back, Conte kind of said that he's got 3 options, being Spence, who he kind of keeps mentioning is like a good club signing that will need to have time to get up to the level of the Premier League and stuff. Emerson Royal, who's fit, and Doherty, who he kind of mentioned in the same vein as Perisic as of coming back from an injury. So really hard to decipher who's going to start there too. I probably think that Royal was going to start there because he probably is the fittest at the moment. Doherty is obviously an explosive FPL option when he gets going. Was tempted to have both him and Perisic, but a little put off it now. I probably wouldn't recommend it, but again, all depends on your risk appetite and probably what you think the predicted lineup will be. But that's my take on it anyway. We'll move on to Man City. Guardiola said the players are going to decide who'll take the penalties. Very helpful. Said Mahrez was good last season, basically giving nothing away. So we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. Nobody asked him an injury question in the open section, which is kind of tear your hair out stuff, especially when you're writing about press conferences and covering them and stuff. And obviously for basically anyone who's into FPL. But yeah, that's probably going to be in the Bargood section, which is going to be out Saturday night. Obviously, it wouldn't make a difference anyway. But yeah, nothing on injuries. So there's some random City lineup that comes out on Sunday. Don't be too surprised, but sure, we're always prepared for that. And then on Haaland, Guardiola said, he's a big figure in terms of physicality. He needs maybe more time to get into the best condition. And then he also said he's going to score a lot of goals. Kind of the same stuff he's been saying all summer, that it's going to take time and he's not at 100%, which lots of players aren't going into the first game week of the season. Personally, I think he'll start, but he's also a minute's risk, and I'd be very surprised if he played 90 again after those comments. And I don't know. Yeah, it depends what the game is like. It's all about game state, isn't it? But I'd probably have his expected minutes at like maybe 70 or something like that as a rough guesstimate. So yeah, I know a lot of people are doing the Kane game week 1 thing, and yeah, Kane's obviously much safer, so I couldn't put anyone off that, but I do think you're probably going to want Haaland in game week 2, all things being equal, that he's fit, because that Bournemouth fixture looks right for captaincy. So that's it on him. Nothing in particular really, just kind of managing expectation, I'd say, Guardiola as much as anything. Liverpool, Alisson's fine, even though he basically played no pre-season. But yeah, expect a starting goal. Adrian is the backup. Queven Keller is injured, as are Jota, Jones, Simicas, Kanate, and Naby Keita has a doubt due to illness. Seems like Nat Phillips is going to be staying around because of Kanate's injury. And yeah, there's no time frame on Jota. Klopp said we'll see him back in a few weeks, sort of thing. So yeah, it'll just be week on week with Jota, but he's definitely out for this weekend, and be kind of surprised to see him back the following weekend either. It sounded like it'll probably be more like towards the end of August, start of September sort of thing at the moment, and we'll see how that goes. Chelsea signed Marco Correa, so Tuchel got asked, does that kind of take the pressure off Chilwell? And he basically said, yeah, it's going to. And his quote was, he looks better and better, but at the same time, it looks like that Chilwell needs more time to adapt to the physicality of the match. So obviously he'd be a massive, massive risk to put in your game with one team. I'd be really surprised if he was starting. It's like a lot of players coming back from long-term injuries. They don't just like immediately turn up in the team. And now that Chelsea have another option, Correa, I don't know, Correa might make the squad. I doubt he'll be starting either. Sure, it's tomorrow. But I really, really be surprised if Chilwell was in the starting 11. So yeah, just wouldn't pick him in FPL at the moment and keep him on the watch list. I'm sure he'll be an option later in the season. There wasn't anything else on team news for Chelsea. I don't think the questions really got asked either. So again, prepare for the unexpected. But yeah, I suppose Reece James is the big one people are picking. He also gave no hint on formation. He wasn't really asked about it either. My guess is that he'll go 3-4-3. But we all know James could play right centre back in that, or it could be a back four, and that would put James at right back. Obviously, in FPL, you want him at right wing back. I suppose the thing about it playing Everton is that Lampard's basically telegraphed that he's going to play a back three with wing backs. So that makes me think even more that Chelsea are going to play a back three with wing backs to go head to head with that. But obviously one would expect Chelsea's quality to kind of win out there. No massive prediction but yeah, that was Tuchel. He also said Sterling's going to be using a fluid front line. So if it's like a front three, it's probably going to be Sterling, Havertz, and Mount to start. And, Sterling could end up playing centrally, right, left. I'd say it'll be a lot of switching around. So personally, I'd probably wait and see how that plays out. But Sterling is obviously a good differential option. Mount is in the conversation with all of those other 8 million midfielders. And they do have a really good Gameweek 1 fixture tomorrow. Obviously, Everton are pretty poor. Tuchel also likes the 5 subs rule a lot. Not a massive surprise. Most of the managers are saying similar. So we can just get used to a lot of substitutions. Yeah, a lot of minutes being curtailed, but hopefully in the right places on the right side of 60. And Tuchel was also asked about his comments after the Arsenal game when they lost 4-0 in pre-season about a week ago. He had a bit of a freak out, said they weren't ready. I suppose unsurprisingly, he's a lot more positive now. Probably has to be. Yeah, that did slightly put me off Chelsea assets, but the fixture is so good, and Reece James probably has just such high upside, especially in a game against Everton, that I think I'll probably go with him. Obviously, that's your own decision. But yeah, took a bit more positive a week ago, but also, like you're saying, that they have a lot of work to do, sort of thing. They're a team in transition. So that's Chelsea. Leicester, unfortunately, Pereira, is out for. There's going to be no editing on this video, by the way. probably ever, but definitely not today. Ricardo Pereira, unfortunately, after 6 months, extremely unlucky in injury terms, man. Ruptured Achilles, nasty stuff. Harvey Barnes out for a few weeks. Ryan Bertrand is not available, and they're okay otherwise. There's obviously a lot of transfer speculation. Roger just said Madison and Fafana are training very well, working hard for the game on Sunday. I'd be surprised if the two didn't start, but I'd also be very hesitant to put them on my team at the moment. Transfer window closes like 1st September or 31st August, one or the other. Personally, I'd be very wary of those players because like the bids that are going in are clearly actually happening or whatever. So, I would probably let the dust settle on that. I mean, Vardy's obviously a really good differential option for people that want to go with that structure, possibly with 3 forwards, or possibly with, say Jesus and Vardy or something different again. And he's going nowhere, so that's fine in those terms, and the fixtures aren't bad. But yeah, Madison particularly, I would be shying away from until his future is resolved or until the window closes, basically. And then whatever I want to know about Leicester is who's going to play in goal. On Danny Ward, Roger said he's come through that in-house game during the week really well. He'd been training for a week before that. He felt fine after the game, played well, had no problems, has had a good week's training. And then he kind of reiterated what he said a few days ago of that. I've always said Ward is a number 1. Everson has gone away. He was on loan at Preston last season and done well. I don't feel like I need to look outside for a new goalkeeper. And then he obviously wouldn't say who's starting. He said, just wait and see. Personally, I think Danny Ward is going to, as they say, get the shirt. And that Everson will be the backup. Rodgers is a bit of a slippery character. So, like, even though he says they're not going to buy a new goalkeeper, I believe it when I see it. But the fact that they've signed no one yet and the general noises around Leicester, it does seem like they might have other priorities when he's got these 2 keepers. And he has said a couple of times now, I think thinks Ward is a number 1. So I don't think it's too dangerous doing the double 4.0 keeper. There's definitely an element of risk attached, and like Leicester, based on anything to do with last season, aren't going to keep too many clean sheets. But I mean, you literally have to pay 4.0 at a minimum for a keeper, so it's definitely good value. Get some save points. If you're going at 1, I would go at Ward, and yeah, if you want to go at both, I wouldn't be completely against it. Might cause you trouble in future, but like the way the season is panning out, and that have to play the first wild card in the first, whatever it is, 16 game weeks, you will be changing that position anyway due to that. So yeah, all about risk appetite again, and I suppose your expectation from your keepers as well. There's not going to be many points out of them, but they are incredibly cheap and allow you to do a lot elsewhere. So that's the Leicester goalkeeping situation. Right, I better hurry the hell on. West Ham, Dave Moyes starts off the season being an absolute ignoramus. We've got quite a lot of concerns, but I'm certainly not going to give them to you. Nice one, David. Classic Moisey. Just like, I don't know who is doing these West Ham press conferences. Like, it's just mad that they don't go, actually would like if you told us who the injured players are. Like, bizarre. But your luck. And then after that, so like he said, Scamacca's not available and neither is Ogbonna, but those are not included in his initial quote of a lot of concerns. Cresswell and Antonio missed the last friendly, but there has been literally no other word about anybody. I don't know. I just wouldn't pick a West Ham player to start with. I mean, they have Man City. It's good enough reason not to start with them. Obviously, you're picking your team for more than 1 week, but it's hard to see much upside with them, and there's going to be some lineup consternation, I would imagine. with what he said. So yeah, I would say West Ham are a fairly simple avoid at the moment. I suppose bar Bowen because he was so good last season and he's obviously scored 2 goals against City or whatever. Don't love their fixtures. He's an easy downgrade if you want to just if you wanted to get out straight off him, but you'd surely give him more than one game if you went with him. Yeah, personally, I would stay away, but yeah, Bowen if that's your flavour. Wolves, Jimenez was ruled out last week for a few weeks, so be surprised to see him before September at a minimum. Laga reiterated he's going to play back four. Connor Cody might leave, so it seems unlikely that he'll start. Probably going to be Collins and Kilman in a back four. And then he also, Laga wants Gibbs White to stay. So it seems very likely Gibbs White's going to start in the front three. That should also involve Podence at false 9 and Pedro Neto. They obviously have a good fixture against Leeds. Adama Traore is also out, and that's it for Wolves. United, Martial is out. Sancho missed last weekend through illness and hasn't been seen in training. Ten Hag didn't say anything about Sancho. He said that Martinez and Eriksen are fit enough to start, and he's kind of towing the party line with Ronaldo as the usual, as he's been doing all the way through pre-season, basically saying he's happy to have him. And yeah, I think there was a bit of a blowout about him leaving the stadium, but there was obviously other players who did, and Ten Hag kind of pointed that out or whatever. And he's obviously down a striker in Martial, so wouldn't be overly surprised if Ronaldo starts, even though he had only 45 minutes of pre-season. But they don't have a whole pile of other options apart from probably using Rashford up front, or maybe some sort of false nineness as well with Fernandez or Elanga, or take your pick. But yeah, Ronaldo could easily start for United. Nottingham Forest, Yates is out and Hennessy is fine. Southampton, Walcott and Teller are out. Romain Perot is a doubt. Fulham, Harry Wilson unfortunately out for 8 weeks. I think Chalobah is the only other player that they're missing. So other than that, their fairly thin squad is available. Yeah, that's it for Fulham. Aston Villa, Buendia is a doubt. I've written an article. It's on Draft Hound. If I have time, I will link it under here. But it's on my Twitter at Colin V Hayes. Going through everything that's been said. Obviously, this is just a quick run through that hopefully will get to people before the deadline. Fingers crossed. But basically, sounds like Buendia is a decent enough doubt because he only came back to training yesterday. That's Thursday, and Gerrard said he'd probably be in the squad if he trains today, on Friday, which would have been after the press conference, which we won't find out about pre-deadline, almost definitely. So it's just further good news for people who are going with Bailey because he's got less competition there. Buendia could easily make the bench, and I don't think Bailey's going to play 90 minutes anyway, but seems better for a start that one of the main contenders for one of those kind of behind the striker or flanking the striker roles is a bit of a doubt. Mings is fit, but he had an issue midweek. Chambers also available, but it seems like Konza is in line to start with David Carlos, centre half. Bournemouth, 2 new signings, Fredericks and Rothwell, both out. Brentford, Pinnock, Ayer and Canos are out. Brighton, McAllister is available. Yakamoto's long-term injury absentee. Everton, Calvert-Lewin's out for 6 weeks. Rondon suspended, so Dele Alli is likely to play as a false 9/striker against Chelsea. Coleman is playing for the under-21s tonight. Lampard is quoted as saying he's fit, but obviously he's not going to play Premier League tomorrow after playing under-21s tonight. So exactly what fit means, it clearly doesn't mean Premier League match fit in this case. Personally, if I was going for one 4 million defender, I would just go with Neco Williams now, because while Patterson is clearly very good and he is going to be their right back for Everton in the future, Lampard absolutely loves James Coleman, as do I, as an Irishman. But my allegiances aside, yeah, Lampard is big on Coleman. Coleman's the captain. He's going to take minutes off Patterson, even if Patterson is the starter. And obviously, you would not expect very many clean sheets anyway. Possibly the odd attacking return or whatever from Patterson, but yeah, if I was playing it safe, I would go with Neco Williams at 4-0 over Patterson, with Coleman approaching Premier League match fitness in some capacity. Leeds, Cooper, Firpo, Forshaw, Ailey, and Sinistera all out. The latter, Sinistera, is probably the likeliest to return quickest. Dallas is out long term, and Marsh said it was massive for Bamford to play 90 minutes last weekend. Finally, Newcastle, Shelby is out. Could push Bruno Gomes into a deeper midfield role, but we'll really just have to see when Newcastle start playing. It mightn't either. He might still be playing box to box in one of those number 8 roles. But the possibility is there for him to play as 6 now because of Shelby's injury, which sounds like a pretty bad hamstring injury. Doesn't sound like he's going to be back anytime soon. No time for him at the moment. Lewis and Fernandez are also out, and Manquillo is back in training. And Howe was positive on Botman, so it sounds like he'll start. Sean Longstaff, who's a 4-5 midfielder who might get a start, and Elliot Anderson, also 4-5 midfielder, youngster, sounds like he's going to be in the first team squad. Could take minutes off people here and there, but yeah, I wouldn't be picking him in FPL, but Longstaff could be a half decent option. Probably we'll wait and see, but yeah, that's Newcastle. Right, that's the end of the video. Thanks a million if you got to listen to this. Please be kind, this is my first video. Hopefully it was informative. As I said, I've written all about the press conferences with every quote you need for FPL on Draft Hound. We'll be writing there this season. They are doing a premium members offering, so a subscription, but you can sign up for free for 2 weeks, and if you don't like it, you don't have to sign up. Stay signed up. So yeah, if you want to give that a try out, that'd be fantastic. And hopefully I will see you for another video soon. Cheers.